Hi and good morning, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you for having that cup of coffee with me this morning, for listening to me on the speakers in your car on the way to work. Whatever it is, wherever you're listening to me or watching me, I just really appreciate it. You know what I mean? And my voice, I can hear the tenor a little bit better. I'm not as, I guess, congested as I have been. I'm not sure what's been going on with my own sinuses and stuff. Tonight, this morning, I want to talk about things like and why they taste different. So, just some housekeeping stuff. I have a lot of videos to make, and those videos aren't going to be made unless I make them. And I publicly committed myself to making 1,000 videos. And while I maintain now, and until I see a reason for it, this experience that you have with me is very limited, right? In that all I want to do is entertain you. That's it. That's all I want to do. I'm not interested in feedback. I'm not interested because that changes the skew of everything. I'm just a nobody talking about nothing. And I'm curious to see what and if any impact I can have in the real world by allowing myself an opportunity to bundle it up into a product and put it on out there and see what kind of, if any, available consumption is there, And ironically enough, the channel has just passed 30,000 views in its lifetime. And again, that's something that I'm very happy about. I mean, collectively, I've not yet reached the amount of watch time that is required to monetize this channel, but, I can safely do some basic math and tell myself that as long as I'm consistent and as long as I continue to be this kind of a speaker in the way that I'm trying to sell this program, everything is just going to be fine. And I think that ultimately, it's kind of cool to see somebody do that. And I just have all of these interesting different sidebars because, yes, I am still currently trying to make this catalog of videos before the end of the year. So it's really imperative that I get into the flow of things. And I think now I'm going on a 5-5-5 schedule, which is 5 straight videos in a row, a little bit of a break, uploads. Obviously, it takes my ancient phone at least an hour to upload that many videos here. Take a little break, do another 5. So, I mean, Take 5, actually, the name of a candy bar that I haven't seen in a really long time. And interestingly enough, a good way to lead into why I think things taste different. And it's interesting because it seems like every year food just tastes worse than the year before. And by food, I specifically mean questionable food. I mean palpable food that can be found at the grocery that's often defined as processed, ultra processed, or ultra processed. A little bit fake, kind of fake, or just basically this is some stuff that some scientists came up with in some vial in some laboratory somewhere, and it may taste like food, but in actuality just is not. You know what I mean? And I find that, again, on top of all of that, specific products do taste different year in and year out. And I've noticed that it's entirely, my theory is because of, again, the additives and the continued GMO or the continued modification on a genetic level of certain types of foods that are supposed to make it more um I mean, what's the point of keeping costs low if people aren't charged a low price for stuff? I mean, again, this is the quintessential debate that I have with quality and quantity and supply and demand and overt exploitation with a manipulated capitalistic system is that, in every which way of the capitalist manifesto and, Adam Smith and his, advocation for such is that, like, you're supposed to want to keep price low. Like, that's the entire incentive. So as I say these things even out loud, I have to recognize with a little asterisk that while major food manufacturers continue to seek out cheaper methods to produce food and sell it to all of us, they in fact never pass on those savings to us. And it kind of makes you wonder what the point of it all is anyway. Like, if no one's gonna follow simple economic rules that are supposed to be set in doctrine and not just theorized, but as they're practiced, actually realized through theory, right? So again, the idea that if I'm a large company owner and I find a cheaper way to do something, that I can then in fact cut my costs. I can cut my costs by doing all kinds of different crazy, weird, made up money finance things, right? There's just, I know that's a different sidebar, but it's just, again, asterisk sidebar over. I promise. It's just, I can't talk about these things without recognizing the absolute truths of some of them. And I'm just saying that if there was real fruit in Pop Tarts 20 years ago and it cost $2, and after inflation, in today's money it costs closer to 5, and I go to the grocery market today and I find Pop Tarts that have no of anything of resemblance or semblance of any type of real actual fruit or something in it, but yet after the cost of inflation or the adjustment of inflation and time and things, it actually turns out that we're paying more money for an inferior product now. And that's, again, defeats the entire purpose. And I feel like that is a big drive-in into why things taste different every single year. That they come out with new logos of old packages that have existed for decades. Can anybody tell me that they don't notice a difference between a supersized Little Debbie Nutty Bar 2 package single SKU unit in front of the cash register at the store compared to that same Little Debbie Nutter Butter or Nutty Buddy that's sold in smaller pieces and put in a box and sold as like 6 of them instead of just the single one? There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in the taste. Moreover, I do need to take a couple of minutes and talk about how I think coffee has tasted absolutely terrible the last year or so. So similar to chicken, in that I have these conversations with even like my roommate, and it's just that I have these conversations because we eat together, you feel me? And the thing is like we notice a lot of things because we eat a lot of the same food. And one of those things has been chicken, right? Has been like, chicken has just not tasted the same in a handful of years. And just so it's interesting stuff. Coffee for like the past year, and I would even argue moreover since right around pandemic, right when supply chains were disrupted, like coffee just does not taste the same. It doesn't. And again, this is coming from somebody who's had a single 8 ounce fluid ounce cup of coffee at least every single day for like 25 years or something, like I really feel. And the same coffee, by the way, I've always been a huge fan of Folgers Classic Roast, and for decades, that was, it's a good coffee. And now it really has lost all of its taste and like just basically tastes like chalk. Like if I were to like put chalk in a basket and put it over some hot water, it might taste similar. Actually, maybe chalk might have some higher level of taste profile within it. I'm not sure. I've never done that, but so I guess just in it is a metaphor. You know what I mean? Coffee just hasn't been tasting the same recently, and I just want to throw it out there because I can't be the only person that's enjoyed a cup of coffee every morning for years and have noticed that the lackluster quality of that coffee within the same quantity that it's sold is awful. And even, again, so it's sort of like, do companies at some point just choose to sell complete garbage, and then people that sell the real product are, selling it at such a high price that nobody buys it, and then inevitably the lower price gets leveraged into that higher price, and then it just gives us an experience of super like blandness. It just, there's no standardization there. There's no one's, it's just coffee tastes terrible now. And I can't figure out why. I really can't. And I understand that the more expensive coffee we have in our house, like per pound, per ground bean pound or whatever, is like so different in the taste and texture of what is commercially available now at like your Walmarts and stuff, that it's like almost laughable. And I'm just saying that things taste differently than they did. And moreover, you don't have to be old to recognize this. Just next time, right? It's the end of 2024. Take a look at some of the products that you're putting into your body and notice how, specifically through like your mouth and eating them because they're palpable, digestible, and something in potential that has some kind of nutritional value. But I'm just saying, right? Like, think about these things. I go crazy over the old Butterfinger formula and absolutely detest the new Butterfinger formula. Like, why do hot Doritos taste different now than they did 30 years ago when there's been screenshots, and there is one on the Facebook fan page for Flamin' Hot Doritos, which I am an admin of, FYI. So yeah, that page has tens of thousands of fans, and we have the pictures to prove it. That the formula hasn't changed on the back of the packaging in close to now 4 decades, but the flavor has changed. So, like, why were Hot Cheetos purple in the late 90s and now they're a very arguably patented red? Is that a patented red? Are they sprinkling some mystery patented red colored dust on Hot Cheetos? Because they are strikingly red. They're almost too red. I hope that you guys have a really good day. Bye.